it was a Dear John letter to soda. And I basically said, you lied to me. You said you would quench my thirst, but you didn't. And all you left me with was pimples and feeling bloaty. That was the gist of it. This is the Homesteading for Beginners podcast, and I'm Mona Weathers, your homesteading mentor and coach. I'm here to encourage you to pursue your homesteading dreams with the right mindset in a way that is healthy for you, your family, and your community. If you desire to establish a solid foundation for your homesteading journey, then you are in the right place. Join me as I share stories from the past 20 years of my own journey, as well as practical and actionable steps you can take to start and maintain a healthy homestead. Hello, I'm back with a little bit better voice than last week. I feel tons better, and I'm here to bring you some of my thoughts once again. Today, I'm going to talk about homesteading and your health. For some people, homesteading and health kind of is something that just automatically goes together, but maybe not for everyone. So I wanted to have this discussion. We're going to talk about our physical as well as our emotional and mental health. It may not be surprising to you, but a lot of people actually get into this lifestyle for their emotional and mental health. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. Much of my homesteading journey has to do with my health journey as well. When I started the Healthy Homesteading blog I had in 2010, it was really a blog to journal all of the things that I was transitioning away from and learning how to embrace, like better food, better choices, trying to raise my own food and trying to help my family to be healthier. So Healthy Homesteading started off as a journal to share that with other people. I have since gotten rid of healthyhomesteading.com as a journal. It is a different website now. I do have a blog in there as well, but the original writings of long ago have been deleted, but I did save the blog in PDF form. It was a website called Blog to Print, and I printed out my blog entries, and not everything got saved the way I had hoped. My blog actually got hacked, and so some of the things that I read over actually have they were, inserted with different words. A lot of medications were inserted into my blog, which is kind of ironic. But anyway, I still have some of the memories from back then, and I wanted to share some of that with you because that is a big part of my journey. One entry I have was November 2010, where I was talking about how my taste buds had been changing because I was eating different, more healthier food. I was, at the time, before I started making these changes, my husband and our family were just like the average American, eat, processed foods, and thought we were pretty healthy. Didn't think much of it until I started having health problems. So one of the entries I have is, I'm going to read from the journal right now, and you have to remember this was me in 2010, so not everything was great or sounded great or anything like that, but it is a good memory for me. It's a good way to look back and see how it is I thought about things, and one of those things was how food tasted. So here goes. Why is it that we think of food solely on whether it tastes good or not? We all do it, maybe not all the time, but most of us choose to eat something just because it tastes good, but not necessarily good for us. I honestly think it's the reason for the decline of health in our country to be taste motivated rather than nutrition motivated. The funny thing is, our tastes change when our bodies are happy. Recently, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine about how I viewed food now versus how I viewed food in a few years ago. Just a few years ago, if you would have given me a slice of sprouted bread, I would have looked at it and thrown it to the birds because obviously it had birdseed in it. Now I love sprouted bread. Did I lose my taste buds somewhere between then and now? No, it's because my body is telling me it's good for me, and now I crave better food. Did I crave better food the first time I ate better food? No. I thought it tasted like bird food and fed it to the birds. But over time, taking small steps toward eating right made my body recognize the good food, and my mind changed as well as my taste buds. I think back on those journal entries and think about how some things were really, really difficult for me. I had not developed a palate that would appreciate things that were healthy. And it took time in my adult years to learn how to do that. I don't think any of us really need to be convinced that eating healthier is better for us. I mean, we all know eating healthier foods helps our bodies to function better. Our bodies heal better when we eat better things. Homesteading can bring a lot of that to your life because you're growing your own food. You are, choosing to make more things from scratch. You're choosing the things that are just healthier. But it does take a while for some of us to get used to that, to make, choices that are a little bit on the slower side of life, where you have to slow down and make your own food and, and choose things that take a little bit longer to make instead of just putting them in a microwave. So that's the part that maybe you haven't thought about. You are envisioning your homesteading lifestyle, but you might not be envisioning what the mental part of this is going to take for you to transition from eating and living the way you normally do to living a healthy homesteading lifestyle. And I have no idea, personally where you are, so I'm making assumptions about life in general. But I know going from I'm thinking about how it was for me when we lived in a house that was in a little city, and it wasn't the houses weren't really close together. We had a nice sized backyard and all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't growing anything. I didn't have any animals other than a dog, and I think we had a bird. We had a couple dogs and a bird. But nothing was homesteading. And then we moved to a 2.5 acre lot that had nothing, and we started over from there. The other big change for us was that we moved out, and we were no longer very close to anyone. And at the time we had the two older kids. And so I just remember some of the things that I really did like about being out there. I remember liking being, in the middle of, at night, we could see all the stars. It was beautiful. I remember those sorts of things. And as we started growing our homestead, it took, I don't know if you remember, but it took us 4 years to actually start a garden. We had horses, but my garden took about 4 years for me to actually start. And we did get chickens in there somewhere. So we did start, but we weren't at our peak homesteading life for several years into living on this property. And there were some things that were gradual for me, and then some things, because I thought I was ready for everything, I just jumped into all of it at once. And I just remember thinking certain things as we were diving into this lifestyle, like full force. And I remember thinking, like I shared in my journal, like there was a time when I would not have eaten this thing with bird seed in it, which it wasn't really bird seed. It was just sprouted bread. I don't normally eat sprouted bread as much anymore, but I do like it. But I remember just thinking those things, that there was a time when I would never have even touched this. And because I stopped eating so much sugar, that was a big thing. If you want to take action today on changing the way you feel about yourself and feel your health, reduce and almost eliminate sugar just for a time, so that you can see what your taste buds really, you end up with better tastes, I think, just by taking out sugar. And for me, one of the first things was I stopped drinking soda. I was a big soda drinker. I drank Pepsi, and I took away Pepsi one day, and I even wrote Pepsi a letter, which was also in my journal, but somehow it didn't. It was in my healthy homesteading on the blog, but somehow it didn't get transferred over. I don't know if it was a photo and I took a picture of it and that didn't end up in my my journal. But anyway, it was a really good it was a Dear John letter to soda. And I basically said, you lied to me. You said you would quench my thirst, but you didn't. And all you left me with was pimples and feeling bloaty. That was the gist of it. But my whole point was I intentionally took steps to go towards health. I didn't just let it happen upon me. I took steps towards my health. And so that is my encouragement to you. Like, know that some of these transitions for you may not be easy. They may be very, very difficult. They may be easy. I hope they are easy. But just know that it is a journey. And so we just keep taking steps toward better health. And this goes with your mental health as well. Things are going to get difficult. Things are going to be difficult at times. And your mindset and how you view things are really going to be the testers for you. So if you really don't have a strong why, like we talked about before, if you really don't have a strong why, it'll show up when you're like, okay, I don't want to go out and do this thing. I don't want to go out and weed the garden, or I don't want to go out and do the hard thing, whatever that hard thing is for you. It'll show up. It'll come up in those times. It's not going to come up when everything's going really well. It's going to come up when it's hard. So have these thoughts now. Don't wait until it happens. Know that these difficult things you're going to be faced with them. Have these thoughts now and decide how you're going to react when things are hard. I still deal with this. In all the years of homesteading, I still wonder sometimes whether I made and are making the right choices. It's not one of those things where I think too much on, because I usually come to a point where I'm like, yes, we made the right choice. But it does creep in when things are getting hard, like just, having to work really hard, and I don't want to, and I have to have this back and forth with myself about how hard work is good for me. It's good for me to be physical. What would I be doing otherwise? What would my alternative be? How would I be keeping in shape if I didn't have to physically walk up my hill and clean stalls and things like that. I have to actually have these conversations with myself, because the alternative for me is like, I don't want to go to a gym. I'm getting older. I need to make sure that I'm taking care of my body. I'd rather be doing it working on a farm than going to a gym. That is honest conversations I have with myself on the regular basis. So I'm just telling you, that is normal. If you are having struggles, and having conversations with yourself about how you're going to get through struggles is very good for you. And it's how we start to maintain a healthy homestead. If you are enjoying this podcast, I would really appreciate it if you would take a minute to subscribe or follow. By doing this, you will be helping the podcast to be seen by more people. And I do love reading nice reviews too. Don't forget to visit healthyhomesteading.com for more information on how I can serve you. Until next week, I want you to keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep planning for your homesteading success.